My name is Lindsay. I'm a third year in the voice performance program at the University of Toronto, and I participated in CSSG 2024. I started learning German for a long time, just minimal when I was doing classical music, and then I started seriously learning the language in September 2023. Classes went from 9 to 11 most days, and then we would have a bit of time to go eat lunch. And then we would have our study period from 3 to 5. And after that, we usually just went home, studied, and then every day in class we would do a bit of speaking, a bit of grammar, learn some new vocabulary. So in our year, we went to Berlin for a few days. We went to Bamberg, and we did a lot of traveling on our own, but specifically on our field trips. We went and just explored the different types of culture and activities around those cities. So in Berlin, we did a lot of history work and learned a lot about the events that happened in Berlin and seeing historical sites and museums, just overall learning about the history of Germany. I personally went on a lot of outings with my host family, and we did a lot of hiking. There was a lot of hiking in the mountains, whether that be in Castle or the outskirts, and then also a few trips even further outside of the area. And a few of the people that I was friends with in the program, we went and did some weekend trips too. The most value that I found in having a host family was really getting to know the differences between how everyday life works there. And also I had a unique experience where my host mother was not proficient in English at all. So it really forced me to have to learn how to communicate on her one-on-one for any needs that I had. And that was probably the most effective in helping me get used to learning how to speak it fluently, was being forced to communicate in the language with no help. I think one of the hardest things to adjust to was I went in expecting that a lot of people would understand English and be able to answer my questions in English if I had them, but it was a really hard time trying to navigate when there wasn't a way for me to communicate and answer. But by the end of the program, I was really able to basically ask any question I wanted to anybody wherever I went. I think that hearing it from a native speaker constantly really helps you even try to communicate more fluently, because I was hearing the flow of the language more. You don't really get that when you're studying just off of books and in a classroom where not everybody is fluent. So I thought that it was really beneficial to be constantly hearing the language as it's supposed to be spoken. And so I found that it started seeping into my language, and I would start cutting off my adjective endings or my verb endings and being like ich hab instead of like ich habe and all of those types of things. So I really found that I got the nuances, the little nuances that I wouldn't have gotten just learning in a classroom in Canada. I think that I made a lot of really great friendships while I was there. We all come from different parts of the country, and so when we went there, we were basically together every day. And even though we spent time in the classes together for most of the day, we became good enough friends that even after class we would go and do stuff all the time, whether it just be going to a park and laying down and just talking for hours, or even bringing our host families to meet each other's host families. I know that a lot of people did have big outings with a ton of families, just going to museums and stuff. So I really bonded well with the people in the program as well as my host mom. I would say just go for it. I went in and had very basic knowledge of German and just the basic grammar structures, and going into it you get really scared, but you realize that everybody else there is learning, and it might be scary to spend that much time away from where you're so familiar with, but everybody there is also in the same boat. So I'd say it's really just worth it to go, and living in another country for that long is such a great experience and opportunity that not a lot of people get. So if you get the chance,